All right. Okay. Now that we got that done, let's knock this out. There are a couple of acknowledgments I'd like to further make. Unfortunately today, though we tried to get him here, where'd Dave go? Sorry, there you are still where you left him. My good friend, Commander Dave Platten, we tried to get Captain Chauncey to attend the ceremony today, but unfortunately his wife is not feeling well, so I'm assuming that they had some conflict that they couldn't get here today. But nonetheless, I would like to say what I have to say about Captain Chauncey because he's been a very special man in my life. Captain Chauncey was a naval aviator flying combat missions over Vietnam in 1967 when he was shot down on a mission north of Hanoi. And he spent nearly the next 6 years of his life there as a prisoner of war. For his last tour of duty in the Navy, he commanded the University of Minnesota's Navy ROTC unit, and I had the distinct honor of calling him my commanding officer. Captain Chauncey taught me a lot about Captain Chauncey taught me lifelong lessons about the value of the American way of life, leadership, and perseverance. Because if you know what our prisoners of war went through in Vietnam, it's an incredible story. His service, his leadership was an inspiration to me throughout my 27 years, and if he were here today, I wanted to recognize that and thank him for his service and for being what he was for me at that time in my young life. So thank you, Captain Chauncey, and I wish you and your wife all the best. Ellen and I first met Joe and Lauren Bachnick in Pensacola, Florida, while we were going through flight school together. You were a month or so in front of me, right? I think, if I remember correctly.
Age, probably.
And Joe and I were neck and neck at the top of our classes, respectively, and so we were trying to make sure that we didn't graduate at the same time because one of us would be forced to be number 2. We were both very excited to compete for the aircraft that we eventually flew, the SH-60B, and it was the brand new aircraft in the fleet, and it was very, very tough to get a seat in one of those aircrafts. So Joe and I had a great time, though, nonetheless, in flight school together. I was going end of May. You were in the middle of it. So Joe managed to finish in front of me, graduated number 1 in his class. I graduated number 1 in my class. We both get the aircraft of our dreams, and off we went. He went to the West Coast to learn how to fly it. I went to the East Coast and learned how to fly it, and yet we still ended up in the same place. Ellen and I were having a fun time talking. Ellen and Lauren first met while we were down there, and first Navy wife friend that we didn't come down from Minnesota together because we came down with the whole plan with Dawn and Dee Dee Abbott and
Annie? Annie?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, Joe and Lauren, Joe and I served in our first fleet squadron together, the HSL-42 Proud Warriors. And our careers and our families have been crossing paths ever since. Joe and Lauren, you guys, I know you drove a long way today. What time did you get up this morning?
6.
Oh, good. Actually made good time. They drove in from Marquette University. Joe is the commanding officer of the ROTC unit there. And I just wanted to make sure that you both understand how grateful I am, how grateful we are that you are friends of ours. And we look forward to continuing our friendship beyond our years in the Navy. So thank you very much. One of the reasons Ellen and I chose to return to Minnesota for the ceremony was the simple fact that Minnesota is our home. Contrary to what he says, home is where you hang your hat. Minnesota is home. This is where we were both born and raised. Minnesota is in our blood. When you talk to somebody who doesn't speak Minnesota, they just don't get it. Though we have been away for more than 27 years, we call Minnesota home. This reserve center, as we discussed earlier, is where it all began. Dave and I were out there running around this facility in our in-dock. I often kid those of you that went to the academy or actually went to a real true boot camp, although I know Dave, you went through basic training. This had to be the most benign way to get a commission I've ever experienced. So you come over here, you run around for a week, and then you go off and learn how to, your ROTC for 4 years, and they make you an officer. Pretty sweet deal. And I thought, what a great place to come back and close out our 27 years in the Navy. Minnesota means family, and for both Ellen and I, this is where nearly all of our collective family members reside. Just look around. Family is everywhere to us. Family is everything to us, and today our parents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, and extended family are present. And as you can see, if I were to try to take the minute to list each and every one of you, we'd be here for at least 2 or 3 days. So I'm not going to do that, but what I hope you'll allow me to simply do is say thank you to all of you, all of my family that is here today, for cheering us on for these 27 years. You've made our service mean something, so thank you very much. Also, now I'd like to recognize the veterans that are with us today. I personally want to thank each of you for your selfless service. Throughout my career, I have had the privilege to either serve with you or to use your service as a motivation and inspiration to me when I was going through some tough times. Thank you for the loyalty and the support that you so graciously extended to me throughout my years of service. As many of you know, I come from a military family. 7 of us, 9, I'll call us second generation Geisens, have served in the military. Additionally, I have 2 brothers-in-law, as well as 6 third generation family members that have also served. I'm very proud of my family's military service, and with your permission, I would like to recognize them today. We'll start out at the top, the first generation. Lieutenant Colonel Dwayne Geisen, United States Army Reserve, currently retired. He's trying to reactivate. 35 years and a Vietnam veteran. My brother Mike Geisen served 11 years in the United States Navy, and I don't know how he did this, but he's a lieutenant commander. My brother Steve, Colonel Steve Geisen, United States Army Reserves, retired, 33 years of service. My sister Jeanette Geisen Verbrugge. Where are you, Jeanette? Right there in front of me. Served 9 years in the U.S. Army Reserves and reached the rank of Gretchen, Specialist. So as a reservist, they don't promote as quickly. All right, her son-in-law, new son-in-law, Specialist Ren Holdeman, and I don't think Ren made it today, right? No. But he is currently serving in the U.S. Army Reserves, and I was told he has 9 years, going on 10. My brother-in-law, my sister Jackie's husband, Sergeant Major William DeLay, 31 years and still counting, a veteran of service in Iraq, and he's a member of the United States Army Reserves. Again, I have to say this. How much gold do you put on these? I'm jealous. I just have 3 stripes. He's got 800.
He works for them.
All right, we digress. Jackie and Bill's son, Billy DeLay, Sergeant, United States Army Reserves, working diligently to try to get back on active duty. 9 years and still counting, a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. Commander John Geisen, United States Navy, 27 years and still counting, at least until 1 September. And my service has been in Iraq while I was there supporting the Army, and then also I've been over there a few other times on a few ships. Our son, First Lieutenant Brian Geisen, United States Marine Corps, 4 years and counting, served in Afghanistan. Specialist Gretchen Geisen Blanton, United States Army Airborne, 2 years and still counting. Private Private Christopher Blanton, United States Army Airborne, 2 years and still counting, just returned from Afghanistan. Midshipman First Class Hannah Geisen, United States Navy. We're going to say 4 years and still counting, even though she hasn't yet just received her commission, but Hannah enlisted, went to NAPS for a year, and so she's completed 3 years at the Naval Academy. So Brian's at 8, and that puts me at 31, so knock it off. All right, Major Lori Geisen Murphy, United States Army Reserves, retired, 23 years. And Lori, I wanted to put something down. If I remember correctly, you went to Salvador, wasn't it?
Honduras.
Same thing. And her husband, Major Tim Murphy, and my classmate, 1 year senior, United States Marine Corps, retired, 20 years. Richard Geisen, a.k.a. Richard Geisen. First Lieutenant, United States Army Reserves, 5 years of total service, supported the Marine Corps in Desert Storm, second Market, right? Kuwait. Major Kurt Geisen, the most confused of us all.
Can't figure out what branch.
United States Army, Navy, and Air Force.